What's up guys, my name is Dean, aka the Blue Crusader, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're back for a brand new video game review on the channel, something which I like to do every few weeks once I complete a game. This has been one that I haven't got around to doing, and that's the review of Halo 2 Anniversary in the Master Chief Collection on PC. Since I completed this game, Halo 3 has already been released, which I've also completed too, and Halo 3 ODST is around the corner, coming out soon too. I'm a big fan of Halo. It's one of the video game series that I grew up with on the original Xbox. I play these games for hours every day with friends on Xbox Live back in the Xbox 360 days, or play split screen on the original Xbox on some of the classic Halos. When it comes to Halo 3 or Reach, I'd be building some awesome Forge levels and then testing them out in 3v3 lobbies with my friends, or be playing the Team SWAT game mode. Last year, after nearly 10 years, we finally hit it with Halo Reach coming to PC on Steam and Windows Live, which was super unexpected, especially that it came to Steam, and since then we've been graced with both Halo 1, Halo 2, and Halo 3 so far. I was unsure of what to make of the second remastered title, Halo 2 Anniversary, because I never owned the original Master Chief Collection nor an Xbox One. I only played the original Halo 2 on Xbox. But after playing the first Halo Anniversary, and after playing the original Halo 2 PC edition for a few weeks with around just north of 60 hours played across all of the Halo games on PC, and having finished my run of the campaign story mode on PC from start to finish, I felt it was important to give my honest review on the game's port to PC and the experience which I've had so far. In this review I'll be giving a general review on Halo 2 as a game, as well as looking into each section of the game in its current state. This is the campaign mode, multiplayer and its different variants, and also comparing the experience to the nostalgic original Xbox version. Warning, there is potential spoilers to the story for the newer players who haven't experienced Halo 2 before in the past. When I played the game, there wasn't actually many existing bugs in it. I actually came late to the party and finished the story a few weeks later, but I do know that on release and launch, the Halo 2 Anniversary launch was super rocky with a lot of bugs, so my experience will be a lot different to the people who played it on its release. It took me a few days to complete the campaign story. This was mainly because I was taking everything at a steady pace and watching all of the remastered cutscenes to re-experience the story in its new form. Another reason was because of failing on some of the later missions. The flood missions in Halo 2 are no joke. Just like they aren't in Halo 1, they're super hard and just really annoying that you have to keep replaying them because it's all just down to probability and the random number generator. Because all of the flood spawns are random and they could have any single different weapon, which can make you fail the level repeatedly. After playing Halo 2 though for many years and then not touching it for so long, coming back to this game was like experiencing an entirely fresh game, just like how the Halo 1 Anniversary was. Playing the game again is great because I just completely forgot what most of the story was. It's like a movie when you don't see something for so long, it's just fresh again when your mind's blank or when it has very few memories of the original. In Halo 2 though, you do play again as Master Chief, and it takes place in the 26th century. Halo 2 focuses on two different playable characters that you can control. The first is Master Chief and the second is the Arbiter, which is an alien of the elite race. For failing to stop the destruction of the Halo ring in the first game's campaign, the Arbiter is stripped of his rank of Supreme Commander in the Covenant fleet and he's labelled as a heretic, and instead of being killed he's given the new rank of Arbiter, which is a rank given in times of crisis to squash an uprising. This is a way of redemption via a campaign, most likely that results in their death. The Covenant and its prophet leaders attack the Earth in the Halo 2 campaign. The whole point of Halo 2 is to retrieve an artifact called the Sacred Icon. This is the activation index which stops the second Halo ring firing and destroying all life in the universe. It's basically a battle between the humans and the aliens for the control of it, as the humans want to stop the ring from being fired and the aliens want to fire it. The game has a lot of different missions that span different locations in the game. You'll fight mostly on the ground, but there's also a mix of missions in the air, such as the one where you fight in a Banshee, which is an an alien spacecraft to accompany a larger ship as part of its defense entourage. Then there's also the mix of ground and aerial combat in many of the other missions, where you can choose to take to the skies in one of the Banshees or stay on the ground. The story's very gripping and super cinematic. Here's where I will both compliment the remaster and also show some of my 2 cents on it in the form of criticism, which may not be a popular opinion. So first of all, the new cinematics are of very high quality and the level of effort and attention to detail is really nice. Sure, this game is a port, but it's also a complete remaster in the sense that it brings new graphics and story cinematics. Just like the graphics, which I will cover slightly later, you can switch to the old or new cutscenes during the time you are watching them to make a comparison. This is just like Halo 1, where you can switch from the old graphics in the game to the new graphics, which you can do with the cutscenes with the same button. I think personally for me, the new cutscenes made it like a new game, and it was really awesome to completely re-experience Halo 2, especially since I forgot what it was like to play from my childhood. And with the new graphics, the locations look slightly different too, and the enhanced effects made the game look far better. The cinematics are great, but one problem is that they just completely take you out of the world in game. This isn't always a good thing, and it's not a problem the original game seemed to have. The flashy new cutscenes are completely different to the new graphics, which are great by the way, but the cutscenes have a cinematic level of quality, whereas the game just looks like a high quality game, so the two don't always mesh seamlessly together. To see the storyline via cutscenes, it will flick from the gameplay to a black screen momentarily, and then the cutscene which looks entirely different. It takes you out of the world and the feeling of being in it personally. Halo 2 didn't have this problem before because the original cutscenes were all done inside the game's engine itself, so it didn't need to flick away to play any pre-rendered cutscene videos. It was all in real time by using the character models and very basic animations. This is something which you do realise you miss when you're playing it, but I still love the new game and the cutscenes which do look breathtaking, but this is just a little problem that I had when I was playing the game. The first mission, in which you play on a space station above Earth, looks really nice to play with the new visuals, and the battle rifle weapon looks great in its remastered form. I always loved this mission because you get invaded by flying elites with jetpacks. The end of the mission is just as epic as the original games, in which you shoot off into space with a Covenant's device before it explodes to give the Covenant back their bomb. One of my favourite missions is the third level, which is Metropolis, where you go across a huge bridge destroying everything in your path with a huge tank, which is called a Scorpion in Halo. Basically nothing can kill you on the level, but there's a lot of stuff laying siege to you. Even though you're practically indestructible unless you're a noob, you do come pretty close to having your tank blown up because there's so many aliens fighting you from the sky. I really love the skybox and scenery in the distance on this level, and the huge spaceship which looms overhead in the skies. Another mission which is awesome for me is the Arbiter. This is the first mission where you play as the second character. Basically your first mission after being stripped of your rank is to lead a small squad of forces to eliminate heretic aliens who broke off from the Covenant. This is an awesome level where it's aliens versus aliens, and you'll use an energy sword and plasma weapons to take them down. The mission, the Oracle, will see you fighting through these hordes of zombies which are called the Flood, while still tracking down the Heretics leader. The Flood are a really good addition to Halo, and it adds a chilling horror factor to the game, but for me personally, they get super repetitive and very old very quickly, and they become super annoying, and then it just feels like a chore having to get through these levels. The Flood levels are also really challenging because, like I said before, they do too much damage. It was enough in Halo 1, but in Halo 2 they still hit like a truck. These Flood levels were the cause for most of the rage quitting I did in this game. As an adult, I wasn't really scared of the Flood, but it reminded me as a kid that I preferred to play these missions co-op. But you'll use the new gun, which is the Sentinel Beam, which you can obtain from the destroyed robots to kill Sentinel robots or Flood zombies really quickly with. The end of the Oracle mission is super awesome though, as you fight the heretic leader, called Caesar Refumi, who creates duplicates of himself to trick you in a boss fight. He looks super cool with the remastered graphics, although I just used an energy sword to leap towards him and take him out very quickly, so there wasn't really much challenge to the fight. Delta Halo is a nice mission where you're back on Earth as Master Chief. This level has a very Aztec or Mayan type vibe, as the first place you'll land in is an ancient looking temple where you fight through waves of Covenant phantom ships and enemies and use weapons like snipers and rocket launchers. Later in this mission you'll be back in a tank, but in super close quarters and tight corners, which can get pretty tricky and grueling. The amount of times I was close to blowing up in my vehicle is too many. The next mission, Regret, is another nice one where you'll siege a Covenant-occupied compound on Earth where one of their leaders, which is the Prophets of Regret, is hiding out at. This is one of the first few encounters you'll have with Hunters, which are the huge armor-plated aliens that have huge green laser rays. The only way to take them down is either by hitting the orange cells under their armor, or the ones on their back, which is best to use a sniper, or my personal favourite, getting up super close, getting them to lunge at you, and then shooting them in the back with a shotgun. I also like the tower platforms on this level that you ride on in the sea, where you'll have to snipe the flying aliens too and board other platforms. There's even a part of the mission where you go underwater in a sea lift through an ancient looking sunken city below sea height. This place mirrors Atlantis, and all I could think of is how I can glitch out of this lift to just explore that place. With the new graphics, it looked awesome. It's just a shame that I couldn't leave the container. This level is littered with high level enemies that go invisible, or Covenant honor guards protecting the Prophet. I lunged through a lot of them with the Engi sword to get to the boss in the final building at the end. The boss fight is not only a joke in terms of being easy, but it's also pretty hilarious because you're just basically fighting a dude in a floating Yoda chair that shoots beams at you. To take him down, you just have to jump on his chair and just beat the living daylight out of him. If you get too close though, the dude will literally obliterate you with lasers, so I guess he's not too weak after all. There were times, like on the original mission Quarantine Zone, where I could switch back and forth to the OG graphics to get the original feeling. This was also due to the fact that even though the new lighting is extremely pretty, it makes it a lot harder to see on some of the flood missions like this one. Not just making it more spooky, but just easy to let the enemies get the drop on you. I'll mostly skip some of these flood missions because I've already given my opinion on them, but the levels are still extremely well crafted, and it's the best levels to experience the Forerunner architecture of Halo. My favourite mission is the last one, which is the Great Journey, where you reach Tartarus, a brute also called Jiralhane, who have taken the elite's place in the Covenant. This is the point where there is a huge power play for the activation index, which is the thing that the humans and aliens are battling for, which I mentioned earlier, to fire the Halo ring to destroy the galaxy. You have to kite around this huge white-haired monster wielding a massive hammer who can one-shot you, and you do this in order to kill him. You'll need to wait till he gets hit with a sniper shot 2 or 3 times until you can damage him and he gets weaker. It's a more tougher boss fight than the last one, but it's a really awesome mission. The new brutes added in Halo 2 were a really cool new enemy, and you really see their savagery in the game. The next thing to lead into is the multiplayer segment of the game, which is arguably just as important and nostalgic as the campaign. I really like the multiplayer in this game. I've been top of the leaderboard a few times, and the reason I love it is because there's actually also a few new weapons which are added into the Halo 2 Anniversary version of the game that are not in the normal Halo one. There's new pistols and types of guns from some of the later games, and also a variant of the energy sword in red colour, which was something from another Halo game from Halo Wars 2. The modes are all fast paced, and the Team Slayer and Slayer type modes are huge fun to play. Halo 2 multiplayer is still very much alive and enjoyable, which is not something which I can say for Halo 1's multiplayer, which is pretty much dead on PC. They also toned down the aim assist since Halo Reach, so controllers are not as insanely overpowered on this variant of Halo as they are on that game, which is a huge plus if you want to play a mouse and keyboard. Classic maps like Blood Gulch are now completely different because of the new graphics and experience. The game is kind of like a blend or mix of Halo 4 with Halo 2 though, however, because of a lot of the HUD and the on-screen elements and the new weapons which are in it. So it kind of feels like you're playing Halo 2, but it also feels like you're playing Halo 4 at the same time. It's a weird experience, but it actually somehow works. This is also because there's not just one standard Spartan suit anymore in the game like the original one, there's now more variants of suits from the later games, so the multiplayer sometimes feels like you're playing a later Halo game with hints of Halo 2 in it. Another really nostalgic map for me that I love playing on the remaster is Zanzibar. Everything looks super awesome on this game with a new art style, and it's super cool to play. This map is just pure mayhem, but I got some pretty cool kills with it with a lot of the weapons. All in all, I feel like Halo Reach 2 Anniversary on PC is one of the best console ports which I've seen so far, and it has almost everything going for it that we need in a Halo game. Sure, it's not perfect, namely in the form of the cinematics which cut you out from the game experience, but I've seen very few negatives about this game in my experience playing it and replaying it in its new look. A lot of people can't say the same as I did because on the launch there was tons and tons of bugs and it was littered with problems which they had to later fix, although when I got across to playing it I had a great experience. 343 seemed to be releasing a lot of the Halo games pretty quickly over the months, testing them and getting them out for us to play finally on Steam really quickly, and they seem to patch a lot of the issues and bugs people run into, so any problems that persist in the games don't last for long. If you have one of the Halo games on Steam already, I'd recommend just buying the full Master Chief Collection so you can play Halo 2 and any past and future games that they add. If you enjoy Halo videos, I have tons of Halo Reach PC mod tutorials and showcases, as well as some guides on the tips and tricks on getting better at Halo Reach on the channel, so I'll link those at the end of the video on the end screen and on a few of the pop-ups throughout this video. So if you like those types of videos, you can check them out on the channel and subscribe. I'll also be doing some more reviews on the future Halo games. I'll work on one for Halo 3 soon and one for ODST when it gets released, and finally Halo 4, so we have a video on the channel reviewing every single one of the Master Chief Collection games. Make sure to subscribe and like the video, and if you've played Halo 2 on PC, let me know in the comments below what you thought about the game. Did you like it like I did, or did you play it when I had problems with it? And what's your favourite Halo game of all time? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.